Our first one here is about James Gunn's upcoming Superman movie. Chris, what do we got?
This is from Aaron B. Hey guys, I divested myself of all my Bitcoins and went all in on Europussy. I expect to be rich by summer. Ah, wonderful. Jonathan, is that a sound investment?
Well, you know what? It really is keeping up with inflation right now.
Excellent.
So
good to hear. That's what you got to get.
Investment in gold and Europussy.
Gosh, we're so lucky to have you. Good job, Aaron. Okay, so probably my most anticipated movie after watching Guardians 3 is Superman Legacy. I just read that in an interview, James Gunn has confirmed that the movie will start shooting in January. That's just 8 months away. Do you think that with it still being 8 months out, that all the strikes will be settled by the time it's supposed to start? Or do you think there could be delays?
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in. And yeah, look, I thought one of the best pieces of news, other than Hugh Jackman coming back to play Wolverine in a Deadpool 3, that we've gotten in the past year or so is that James Gunn and Peter Safran were taking over and becoming the new heads of DC and the new shepherds of DC. I think that was the beginning and the flare going up into the night sky, signaling that good days are ahead for DC. And when they announced that Superman Legacy was going to be a movie they were going to probably kick things off with, and that James Gunn had written it himself, I think most of us, you guys at home, us here, I think most of us then put two and two together that, you know, just like a new TV series will bring in the biggest heavy hitter director to direct the first episode and kind of set the tone, we all kind of figured James Gunn himself should probably direct Superman Legacy, since it is the first new chapter of this brand new DC. It would make sense for James Gunn to come in, and sure enough, they announced that he will be directing it himself. It's coming out not until 2025, so it's still a ways off. But a lot of us have been hearing that it might be closer to going into production than we thought, and James Gunn has indeed confirmed that just 8 months from now, they're going to start production on Superman Legacy. This comes to us from the folks over at CBR who write, Gunn has now shared an exciting update on when the movie will start production. During the Wired interview, Gunn revealed that Superman Legacy starts shooting in January of 2024. The director also confirmed the movie's pre-production has started, with a recent report claiming Superman will not be impacted by the WGA strike, as Gunn delivered the first draft of the script days before the strike began, and the movie only begins filming next year. Now, it's interesting that they wrote that he submitted the first draft. I had heard that he had submitted the final draft. He submitted the actual shooting copy. So I believe that that's all said and done. All right. So yeah, there's that word I love using, the tangibilization. Like, all movies are theoretical until the machine actually starts moving. They're in pre-production already. Gunn confirmed that they're already in pre-production. Storyboards are being made, models are being done, costumes are being designed, sets are starting to be constructed, location shooting or location scouting is underway, all that kind of stuff. And they start rolling cameras in January, just 8 months from now. So everything is in full swing. Like most other projects right now, the question that a lot of us are going to have is, how will this writer strike impact it, or could it derail it or push it further back? It's unlikely that the writer strike will impact it, but it is possible. See, it's unlikely because of a couple of things. Number one, the script's done. James Gunn's got the script done, so that shouldn't have too much of an impact. Secondly, they're not shooting for another 8 months, which it is hard to believe. I think even the most skeptical person to believe that this strike will still be going on 8 months from now. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I think that the 2015 one lasted 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
And that felt like forever.
Well, and the repercussions of it were so much
longer. Had a rippling effect,
yeah.
Much like the pandemic. Even when the pandemic's over, we're still feeling the impact of
Absolutely.
it today. And I think that's going to happen. So I think the fact that it is 8 months out protects it. Now, the one thing that could possibly impact Superman Legacy and bump it, maybe, depends on what happens with the negotiations of the DGA. Because if the Directors Guild, and Chris, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, if the Directors Guild decides to go on strike as well, which very well could happen. See, right now, James Gunn's duties as the writer of the movie are done. I mean, there'll be more later, but for now, they're done. He's written the script. But his work as the director is now going on. He's now the director of the film, overseeing all the pre-production and all that kind of stuff. And if the DGA goes on strike, that means he can't do any of his director responsibilities, making all these key decisions, like these hundreds of micro decisions that need to be made every single day as pre-production gets underway. He won't be able to do anything as a director and as a member of the guild. And that, I think, could impact that to a degree. Now, he may walk away from it and hand responsibilities off to Peter Safran to say, hey, as the lead producer on this, here are the things you can look after while I'm gone. Do as much as you can on it. There's certainly some workarounds, but that's the way I see that this could impact it. I don't think it will, but if it does, that's the way it's going to happen. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, MasterClass. With MasterClass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere, and at your own pace. You can learn filmmaking from James Cameron himself, you know, the guy who made 3 of the 4 biggest films of all time. Improve your writing by taking screenwriting from one of the greatest who's ever done it, Aaron Sorkin. Or maybe learn how to make great comedic content by taking comedy by the one and the only Judd Apatow. And many of you guys know I'm a big poker guy, and I recently got a chance to sit down and watch Daniel Negreanu, one of the greatest poker players in the world, teach poker. It was absolutely fantastic. But guys, whatever you're interested in, there is a class for you with over 180 exclusive classes taught by the instructors you know and love. And you can explore lessons in any order you'd like, across your phone, tablet, Apple TV, computer, and on the go with audio mode. Individual lessons range from about 10 to 15 minutes in length that fit easily into your everyday life. Guys, I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every class, and as a John Campea Show listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea now. That's masterclass.com/Campea for 15% off Masterclass. I don't know, Chris, you look at this, it is such a weird, tangled puzzle right now with the whole industry. Right now, it's only the Writers Guild, but the actors could soon follow. The directors could soon follow. I mean, how could this impact Superman Legacy with it not shooting for another 8 months? Or do you think it's pretty safe where it is? What do you think?
I mean, definitely could impact it if we still are going and if everyone else decides to strike. For James Gunn in particular, this could become a much more complicated issue. He's a member of the WGA. He's a member of the DGA. ABC reported, maybe about 5 days ago or so, studios sending out memos to showrunners saying, hey, you're not exempt from your duties as a showrunner just because you're part of the Writers Guild. That's separate and you have a different contract with us, which we'll see how that pans out.
Right.
For someone like James Gunn, who is head of a studio.
Yeah, he's in a weird spot.
I don't see David Zaslav being like, oh, James, it's fine. Take your time. When that love of work and writing comes back, you can come back here. I think that's going to be a very big issue here that he's going to have to contend with, of where he is going to find himself on that side of the strike. Is he going to stay with the WGA, the DGA should they decide to strike, the actors if they choose to strike, etc., or is he going to be siding with the studio that he is freshly helming? So that's one issue here. As far as the actual casting and the strike and everything goes, look, he's got the script locked down, and they've got 8 months to get this done, right? Based on some of the Marvel films we've seen too, and this is just a logistics thing, most of those actors who decided to get into superhero shape began a 5-month regimen to do that. And Superman is somebody who has to look like an incredibly strong individual. I mean, you can't obviously get
That's right. Superman is Ray. You heard it here first. Ray broke it.
You got cast? That's wonderful.
Yeah, look up at me. Yeah.
And obviously, a lot of these people do use padded suits and things like that. But if you want to cast somebody so they look the part, right? You've got maybe 3 months to find your Superman with this timeline, and then another 5 to get him in shape. That's the part that I think is honestly the tight issue here. But if there are these delays with the strikes and everything, I think this could end up in limbo for a while, especially with James Gunn so deeply attached in so many different ways.
See, I think they've got their Superman already. I know James Gunn will deny it. I know James Gunn will deny it, and he has denied it, but I don't believe him. I believe they've already have their Superman.
Who do you think it is?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's probably his wife. I mean, he's putting her in everything else at this point. But
Got him. Burn.
But you bring up an interesting point though about would David Zaslav come to James Gunn? Here's the thing. I think David Zaslav would know, and I think James Gunn knows, because he's not only the head of a studio, he himself is a member of the WGA and the DGA. You cannot, and they better impress this upon David Zaslav. is that just starting right now with our brand new DC, we cannot make our lead foot getting on the shit side of the actors, the writers, and the directors. And like James Gunn has got to sit down with David Zaslav, and I got to believe David Zaslav would understand this, but he would have to sit down with David Zaslav and say, look, I understand that we got a lot riding on this movie, but if I, as a member of the WGA and the DGA, if I make my first act as heading of this studio to screw over all the creative guilds, we are going to have a very bad time for the next 4 or 5 years.
Oh, yeah. And I
He's
do
gonna be
not
like,
think...
sorry, Gunn, I can't hear you over my plane.
Over my sax.
Like, I don't think James Gunn would do that. I mean, I really think he's a writer-director first, everything. And
Yeah.
he is such a creative. He's got his roots in trauma, you know? So he is this avant-garde, absolute creative at the end of the day. And while he is now one of the suits, I really, really don't think him being like, you know what we should do? Fuck everybody.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
Because then whenever they try casting, bringing on new writers, bringing on directors, everybody's going to want to give him the stink finger. And you know what I think also, maybe
That's
2 or
the one
3
that's going
years.
in the
I think 2 or 3
Really?
years. Jen like that
sharing
one.
again?
Red earmuffs.
I think 2 to 3 years from now, I think very quietly James Gunn will relinquish his WGA and DGA membership. I think he's going to realize that he's going to let some time pass and very quietly, because he's in a position of a conflict of interest, being the studio head and being a member of the WGA. So nothing you could have done about it at this point. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? James Gunn has confirmed that Superman Legacy, the kicking off starting point of the brand new DC universe, is going to start shooting in January. Do you think these strikes could impact it? Maybe the WGA rules, maybe the DGA, maybe not at all. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.